Hey everybody, how are you? Thanks for joining me again. My name is Mick Perez, and today we are going to work on bar chords, also known as power chords, and we're going to add an E minor chord to our progression, which will be E minor, D, and C add 9. You know the other chord, the D and the C add 9, and this will be used for backing tracks for our upcoming video, which will be getting into lead guitar. Okay, let's get into it. In our last lesson we were playing the G, the D, and the C9 chords, and I played a melody over that. Today we're going to add an E minor chord. So it looks like this. These two fingers, just put them together and they go into the second fret of your 4th and 5th strings and strum all the strings. And then we're just going to play D and C9 again. So every week we're going to do a little bit of the same to keep building on what we already know. E minor, D, C9, D, E minor, okay? Today we're going to get into some bar chords, and the bar chord you'll see people play with their hands this way. It's another way of playing a full chord, but somewhere else up here on the neck where you're holding all the strings down. So this is the bar chord, where you hold all your fingers down. They call it a bar because we're barring a fret here and then adding our fingers to whatever the chord is. There's all different types. Today we're going to do E minor open chords, D major, C add 9, and we're going to play the bar chord. So this is the way a full bar chord looks. And we'll get into a little bit more of playing these later, but to get your hand used to it, we're going to just play the first two top strings. And you probably heard this before. Okay, that's a minor chord, major chord, major chord. But today, just like I played in the intro, you can play a lot of what they call power chords. Instead of playing the full bar chord, we're just going to play the first two notes of the chord. And it's actually a major 5th, but a lot of people call it a power chord. I can get into the theory very quickly, and we'll keep going over this later, but the theory behind why it's a major 5th is if we played a major scale, the first and the 5th note is a 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 5. If we played 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, that's a major 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a 4th. So we're going to be playing 5ths. And just like in the intro, we can play all kinds of rock songs with that. And then we'll get into the full bar chord later. So the way we find the chords are by placing your first finger on whatever note that is. So we know this is a G chord, right? So if we put our first finger here, our third finger here, there's your G bar chord, power chord, major 5th, but we're going to call it a bar chord, okay? So G, and then when we played a D, this is our D. On this note, this is D here. So if we were to play the notes, the quickest way I think for you to understand and just memorize where the notes are these notes on the dot. So we have the dot, 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 3, 5, 7 on those fret markers. So we have E and the G, right? So G, A, B, C, D, E, like the alphabet. E, well, F, G, but we're going to go with G, A, B, C, D, E. So this is E on the 7th fret. That's your E bar chord. This is D, right? Remember? G, A, B, C, D. D, and C. Want me to do here? Let's do that again. I know that was kind of fast. So, G chord. Where's your root note? The root note is the root name of the chord. G. Bar chord. What note is this? A. So G, A. That's your A bar chord. What's after A? A. Right, B. B. And then this one on the 3rd fret, C. Remember the C chord. That makes sense. Here's your root. C. C. And then what's after C? D. What's after D? A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so as I showed you the G like this, and there's your root, there's your major 5th, there's your bar chord, and this was our C9, C add 9. This is our root, C, and there's our major 5th. What about the D? Well, if we have this D here is the open D string, right here. If we were to put our 3rd finger down, it would be here, right? 1st and 3rd finger. So it sounds exactly the same because they're the same notes as these. Hear it? So you could actually play it this way. You're just leaving off these notes and playing the 2 middle strings, the 3rd and 4th string. So E, D, C, E minor, Now, when we're on stage and we're jamming and we're just jamming with friends, we don't play so much like this, right? Like we have to be careful. We can get aggressive and strum all the strings. What I'm doing, if you can see, I'll get a little closer. I'm muting the top string with this finger. So I'm not pushing the string up. I'm just setting my finger high on the string, like we talked about, to where that's where the string crosses, not up on the fingertip, but almost flat. So it's a mute, play, those are playing, and then these are being muted with this part of the finger. So I'm not holding my finger down, I'm resting it across. That's how we can. And we'll get into the chicka chicka later. And all I'm doing is just relaxing my fingers across the strings. That was that kind of funky kind of stuff. D, or E, sorry, D, C. Now I'm going to roll a rhythm and we're going to jam along with that. Okay, and I'll show you some different things you can do with it. Very simple. Now we can play the bar chords as well. Remember to mute your strings that you don't want to hear play as well. Each aspect of this can be a different practice all on its own. Sorry. Sorry about that. You can experiment with different grooves and feels with the bar chords. This is all about just experimenting and taking the basic concept and trying different things with it. Now, if I added distortion on the guitar, take a listen and see what that sounds like. You also saw me do in the beginning. This is going back to the muting, using your palm on the bridge. This was done a lot back in the 80s, if you remember. Judas Priest, Scorpions, just all the rock, heavy bands, metal bands. And how we're doing that is resting the back of our palm against on the strings on the bridge. So if we go too far forward, as we go back, let's see, watch. If they're sitting right on the very bridge. If we go too far back, see where my hand is now? Watch. If I start sliding it forward, you get too much, and then okay, and what I was doing in the intro in the beginning was playing, like if we were going to play an E, because this is open E, and this is our major fifth, right? Just like we played these bar chords, right? So we just put our first finger on this string, and I'm muting out these, so those are muted. And using our palm, muting at the tail piece again over the bridge. That's how we get that mute sound. Okay. All right, great job, you guys. Next video, we're going to be going into the pentatonic scale, kind of an introductory into lead guitar, teach you a few licks, and until then, keep jamming, keep practicing, and rock on.